Welcome back, everyone. Today, we've got a truly fascinating explainer lined up for you. We are diving deep into Chapter 5 of our source material, taking a clinical look at one of the most widely used, honestly heavily misunderstood, and deeply esoteric words out there, karma. We're going to completely demystify the whole concept, strip away all that mystical jargon, and figure out exactly how we can rewrite our own internal software so we can finally take control of our lives. Okay, let's dive into this.
I want you to think about this right off the bat. Externally, you might change your environment, get a new job, move to a new city, start a new relationship. But internally, do you find yourself stuck in the exact same cycles, the same mental reactions, the same psychological habits? Do you ever get that sneaking suspicion that no matter where you go, someone or something else is just pushing your buttons? Like someone else is entirely driving your car.
To illustrate this perfectly, Chapter 5 shares this brilliant, kind of hilarious story about a guy named Shankaran Pillai. So he buys this $10 million ultra-luxurious yacht, right? He takes his new bride out on the water and boom, hits a rock. The boat sinks, and they end up completely marooned on this tiny, deserted island. No food, no animals, literally nothing. Now his wife is understandably panicking, weeping, totally convinced they are doomed. But Shankaran Pillai, he's just sitting there, totally chill, in a calm yogic posture. When his wife demands to know how he can be so unbothered, he starts listing off this massive string of multi-million-dollar loans he defaulted on back in Tennessee, New York, California, Oregon, Mexico, and Texas. He just looks at her and goes, "Don't worry, stay calm, they'll find us." They always do. You see, this fatalistic, almost humorous faith that his past actions will inevitably catch up to him, well, that's exactly how most of the world views karma today.
But you know that fatalistic view? It's just not the whole truth. So today, we're breaking this down into 5 parts: demystifying the karma myth, the real karmic mechanism, the great karmic warehouse, taking the driver's seat, and finally, common karma questions. All right, let's kick things off with Part 1, demystifying the karma myth. It is high time we tear down some of these massive misconceptions. For way too long, karma has been grotesquely oversimplified. Most people look at it as this inescapable cosmic debt collector. They think of it as a divine balance sheet of good and bad deeds kept by some celestial accountant who's either going to reward you with heaven or just chuck you into a recycling machine of suffering to pay for your sins. It basically treats karma as this external, ultimate system of crime and punishment.
But if we actually strip away all the myth and look at the literal translation of the word, karma simply means action. That's it, action. It is absolutely not some external audit of your virtues and sins. It's an entirely internal cycle generated by you and only you. It's the inescapable basis of our lives, which, if you think about it, puts you squarely back where you belong, right in the driver's seat.
Moving on to Part 2, the real karmic mechanism. Now, what's really interesting here is how we actually accumulate this action. We usually tend to think of action purely as physical deeds, right? The stuff we actually go out and do in the world. But karma is actually action happening on 3 distinct levels: your physical body, your mind, and your energy. Whatever you do on these 3 levels leaves a certain residue, a little imprint on you. Even just a negative thought, combined with a negative emotion, accumulates karma. In fact, killing someone in your head 1,000 times over, that actually leaves a much deeper karmic imprint than many physical actions do.
The source text uses this brilliant modern metaphor. You have written your own software. Let that sink in. Whatever feels totally predetermined in your life right now, you actually determined it. You just did it unconsciously. Depending on how you've been writing this software through your physical, mental, and energetic actions, well, that dictates how you think, how you feel, how you act, and ultimately, what you invite into your life. It's like a fragrance you emit that draws very specific life situations right towards you.
Let's jump into Part 3, the great karmic warehouse, because we really need to understand exactly where all this internal software is being stored.
A lot of people don't realize just how tenacious karma really is. The yogic tradition explained in Chapter 5 tells us that we don't just have a physical body, we actually have a mental body and an energy body too. And these subtle bodies act a lot like a computer hard disk. The backup systems are incredibly efficient. Seriously, even if you were to somehow lose your physical body or your mind, your life energy would just keep right on carrying that karmic imprint. It's not some grand external illusion of fate oppressing you. It's just the clinical, internal geometry of stored memory and action.
So here is the absolutely crucial difference between fate and karma. What we usually call fate or destiny or kismet, it's really just a life situation you created for yourself completely unconsciously. You essentially wrote the software while you were sleepwalking, and now it's just running on autopilot. Karma, on the other hand, means finally acknowledging your role. The moment you become 100% conscious, your so-called destiny simply becomes a conscious creation.
Which brings us to part 4, taking the driver's seat. Now that we understand the mechanics of the problem, let's grab the toolkit for the solution.
Acknowledging your karma is not fatalism. It is literally the ultimate form of self-empowerment. Just remember this quote: "The way I am right now is of my making. The way I will be tomorrow will also be of my making." If you can truly grasp this one simple formulation, you stop feeling helpless. You stop cursing your parents' genetics, and you stop blaming the universe for your problems. You are entirely empowered to dynamically craft your own destiny.
And this brilliantly illustrates one of the most practical tools, or sadhanas, provided in the text to help us start creating distance from our karmic compulsions. To shed those acquired identities, you can practice this daily routine. First, physically exhaust yourself every day so you actually sleep deeply. Then, right before bed, sit cross-legged to center your energy. Finally, allow that deep, restful sleep to naturally peel away the superficial ideas you've gathered about yourself. The whole point is creating a gap between you and your mind, because your mind is the principal manufacturing unit of karma. Another totally essential step is replacing selective entanglement with conscious involvement. When we selectively attach ourselves to specific things, we just create more bondage. But if you pay total, conscious attention to absolutely everything, the food you eat, the water you drink, the very air you breathe, your karmic boundaries actually begin to fall away. You start experiencing this incredibly liberating sense of boundlessness, simply because you're no longer blindly reacting. You are actively, consciously involved in your own existence.
All right, let's wrap things up with part 5, common karma questions, because I know there are a few lingering doubts we definitely need to address.
So, this is probably the most frequent question out there. When people hear the word karma, they almost instantly think of reincarnation. They ask, wait, do I have to believe in past lives to actually understand and fix my current life?
The answer to that is a firm no. Chapter 5 emphasizes that looking backward into past lives usually just leads to these wild, hallucinatory states. You really only need to look at the areas of bondage that are a reality for you right here, right now. You can only ever start from where your current experience begins. Just address your present reality. Believe me, that is more than enough to begin rewriting your software.
Here's another really fascinating question. What about animals? Are they trapped in these exact same karmic cycles as we are?
Well, yes, they do have karma, but it is incredibly limited. And why is that? Because animals act almost entirely on instinct. Humans, on the other hand, possess advanced intelligence. The very moment you employ human intelligence and volition, your actions take on a totally different level of significance. Our unique capacity to make conscious choices is exactly what adds that massive, heavy layer of consequence to our human karma. Which naturally brings us to the age-old destiny debate. What about astrology? What about horoscopes? Are we all really just playing out some script written in the stars? The text suggests thinking of astrology merely as checking the weather. Look, if you want to fly a plane, yeah, you check which way the wind is blowing. Horoscopes might show your tendencies or inherited predispositions, sure, but they were never meant to be this blind life script you're forced to follow. Spiritual practice is literally the technology used to transcend that weather. An authentic practitioner doesn't let the wind blow them around. They say, I am not wind blown. I am a self-propelled pilot.
I want to leave you with this really beautiful excerpt from a poem in the source material. It goes, "A day is but a piece of time that lets us live and die. This day let us live and live totally." It's a powerful reminder not to think of karma in terms of countless, endless lifetimes, but in terms of just this one, living moment. Every action, every single thought, every bit of energy you output, it's a line of code you are writing right now into your life's software. So I have to ask you, how much of your destiny will you write today?